Question 35 from the homework. We didn't get a chance to cover something similar in class, and so that's probably why this is a little bit confusing to everyone. But this requires us to use Raoult's law. Raoult's law is basically the partial pressure of the vapor pressure of the solution equals the mole fraction of my solvent times the vapor pressure of my solvent. Right, so P of the solution, X of my solvent, and P of my solvent. Right, P solution is vapor pressure. Of my solution. P of the solvent is mole fraction. Solvent, and P of the solvent is vapor pressure of my solvent. And so that's what Raoult's law tells us. All right, it's a way of calculating what we already know, is that when I add an impurity to that solvent, when I add a solute to the solvent, I lower the vapor pressure. And by lowering the vapor pressure, right, we raise the boiling point of that solution. So I add 101.8 grams of non-volatile ethylene glycol to 346 grams of water at room temperature. The vapor pressure at room temperature, the normal vapor pressure at room temperature is 23.76 torr. What is the vapor pressure of the resulting solution? Right, so before we can calculate anything, we have to find our mole fraction of the solvent. So number one, I need to find moles of my solute. All right, so I've got 101.8 grams of my solute, and the solute is 62.07 grams per 1 mole. And the same thing for the solvent. I've got 346 grams of my solvent water. Water is 18 grams per 1 mole. And again, be careful on this calculation, as your numbers might be slightly different than mine. All right, so I've got 1.64 moles of my ethylene glycol and 19.2 moles of my water, which is my solvent. So to find the mole fraction, right, how do we find the fraction of anything that we're looking for? Mole fraction equals, right, moles of X divided by total moles in the sample. So my mole fraction would look like this. I'm looking for the mole fraction of my solvent. So my solvent, I have 19.2 moles. And my total moles would be solute plus solvent. So over 1.64 moles of the solute plus 19.2 moles of the solvent. Add and divide, right? And I get a mole fraction of about 0.92 for the solvent. Now I can use Raoult's law, right? P of the solution, that's my unknown. I want to find the vapor pressure of the solution. That equals the mole fraction of my solvent times the vapor pressure of my solvent. So my vapor pressure of solution equals 0.92. It's my mole fraction times the vapor pressure of my solvent, which they give us right here. 23.76 torr. Multiply those two together and I get a vapor pressure of my solution of approximately 21.86 torr. So taking a look, right, we started at 23, we ended at 21 torr. That makes sense because we know the addition of a solute to my solvent will raise the boiling point. It raises the boiling point by lowering the vapor pressure. So I went from 23.76 to 21.86 as my new vapor pressure. Lower vapor pressure, higher boiling point.